Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Kenneth Berry here. Another episode of Touchdowns and Tangents with myself and Pete D. Camarillo, the biggest asshole I know.
Yeah, and we have a special guest, man. Shout out to my brother, Ruben Woo. He's in the house right now, straight from Eastville. What's good, Woo?
What's happening, guys?
Yeah, man. So, got a jam-packed show tonight. We're going to really show the good news radio station listeners what's good with the Touchdowns and Tangents show. We're going to go in on the national anthem, talk a little bit entertainment, some movies, probably talk about Deadpool, and then, well, the usual takes and tangents. So,
and Pete's actually, now I guess he's technically the B mic this week. He's going to actually talk more. Like, in most episodes, you really kind of just, like, toe the line. Now you kind of have to be an asshole and take a stance this week.
No, not really, because I wasn't even expecting you to make the intro, but since you got your big boy pants on.
You know what?
Because we damn well know you can't moderate, so.
First off, I can moderate. I'm just not monotone like some people.
You just lose your point in your place in the track of the show, and it took you 15 minutes to write the intro.
First off, it didn't take me 15 minutes to write the intro.
And I literally timed you.
Really
we started at 8:55, and we're on at what, 8:10?
We started at 8:55?
You started at 7:55.
All right, first GFE of the night. 8:55.
Are you done? Are you ready to grow up and, have a show, or are you still petty because I was making fun of your typing skills because you type like an AutoZone
first off,
dude looking for my part? Wow,
that was trash. I just want to point that out. That was terrible. You know what? Just shoot yourself for that.
Wow. We're getting button happy. All right.
Twice in the foot. Actually 3 times. For good measure.
All right, man. So why don't we start with you, Woo? Why don't you tell us about your week since you just came back from Cabo? You were in here looking all tan and
happy.
It must be nice.
Unlike Pete and his digestive system.
Yeah, man. Went out to Cabo for 4 days, had a good time. Shout out to my parents, let us stay at their resort.
Man, so, I've been to Cabo. I don't think, Kenny, you've never been to Cabo. But for those people who are listening right now.
I just assumed I've never been to Cabo, but no, I haven't. Elitist. No,
anyways, so why don't you go ahead and just, like, what's the thing that sticks in your mind the most when you think of Cabo? Like, what's the image in your head?
I think the Cabo Arches, if you guys don't know, Google it. There's a bunch of pictures. Beautiful beaches, fish. It was a lot of fun. We went paddleboarding. We went to this beach in this place called La Paz.
Yeah.
So you can walk out 100 yards into this beach, and the water's only up to your waist. And clear waters, turquoise waters. It was insane.
$3 beers, $2 beers.
Man, buy one get one. Buy one get one tacos and beers. Man, I put on like 15 pounds in those 4 days. Man.
How's those sunsets out there?
The what?
The sunsets, like.
Oh, the sunsets are insane, man. Yeah, those colors, just purple, pink, orange, just the colors in the sky were insane.
So would you go back?
I would. Going back 2020, parents are getting married, so
it's
gonna be a good time saving up.
And any tips for people thinking about Cabo or who may be going to Cabo? Some insights since you've been there a couple times now.
This summer, in particular.
If it looks good, eat it, man. There's so many taco spots. I could have spent a whole day just going to different taco spots. So. Don't be scared of the local food. It's all good. They take care of you out there.
and you didn't end up in the dark alley in the van this time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Should we be talking about that? We might all get murdered.
That's a true story. Me and P were in Cancun, got on the wrong bus. We were with the locals. We were in the freaking barrio.
Oh,
like shacks.
Shacks.
Like no roofs. House with no roofs.
Like shanty towns?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. So it got to
like gravel roads.
It got to the last stop. Bus driver turned around, was like, "Is this your guys' stop?" We're like, "We're trying to get back to a resort." They're like, "Oh, you're on the wrong bus."
Bro, it was way more dramatic though. Like me and Woo just looked at each other. We grabbed our bags and we were like, "Bro, we don't know what's gonna happen." We were ready though.
Bus driver stepped out. We're like, "Yup, this is it."
We're like,
this is how you die.
I'm about to fight my way out with this tripod right now. Like, we're not gonna make it back.
And then when we got back, this dude was so mad at me. He was like, I'm not telling my parents about this. Well, Yesenia, if you're hearing this, now you know.
Almost died.
We almost died, but we're good. So we
But if you almost didn't die, did you really actually have fun?
No, it was a good time, but yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you don't have a near-death experience,
bro, you don't even
it's not a
understand
vacation.
that last 3 days we were just literally eating bags of chips because we had no money.
Yeah,
You were scrounging from bus station to bus station.
Yeah, we're early 20s. We're like, oh, let's go to Cancun.
You put Pete on the stroll. Pete was on the stroll. He was panhandling.
Almost. I flopped on that one. But I don't want to talk about that.
It was a dark time.
She still follows me on Facebook.
The more you know, ladies and gentlemen, with Pete Camarillo.
All right, but yeah, that's the Touchdowns and Tangents show. We like to have a little bit of fun, a little bit of tangents conversation, but we're mostly about football, so let's go ahead and dive into the content. The topic of the week, the topic of the hour. I know the guys at Courtside, shout out to them. They already talked about it a little bit before us. But the national anthem, the NFL has, officially established a policy where basically teams have to decide if they're going to go stand for the anthem. They have to stand and show respect, in quotation marks. That's actually in the policy, show respect towards the anthem by standing.
In a patriotic way.
Yes.
Literally in those terms.
Or they can stay in the locker room and not come out for the national anthem, which basically is kind of...
Go have your protest in the bathroom where no one can see it.
Yeah, pretty much defeats the purpose of the protest. But besides that, I think they're kind of portraying it as a compromise.
Which it clearly is not.
But I don't know. I guess my biggest thing is, the biggest question mark I have is, why are we talking about this?
Should I?
Go for it.
Okay. So, the day that this came out was also the same day that Milwaukee Bucks rookie Sterling Brown, video of him being horribly beaten and brutalized by the Milwaukee PD over, incorrect parking, pretty much, at, a Walgreens. Same day that came out. He pretty much did everything he was supposed to do. He was on the ground. He got tasered. There were stun guns. He got beaten up by the cops. Totally unnecessary. Totally unjustified. Especially, it's even worse when you actually watch the video. And there was more outrage in the NBA. And when everybody's talking about how, okay, why are you... Well, first, if you think back months, what the NFL did was they broke off, I think, not $100 million, around 90, I guess, to NFL players saying, look, we'll give this money to all your local charities or initiatives, community initiatives, everything like that, to help kind of foster a better community amongst the police, law enforcement, all you guys. We'll do this, but people like Eric Reed and a lot of other players were pissed off because they're like, it's really just a money grab, that's the tax write-off, and nothing's really going to get done. They're just throwing money at a problem, and there's no real influence.
Well, not just that, but $90 million's not a lot of money.
It really
to
is.
the NFL, especially over 7 to 9 years or whatever.
Tax exempt.
They're not tax exempt anymore.
Well, for the longest time, they were 501(c) and they didn't have to pay taxes, and we're making billions hand over fist, more than the NCAA. So when you factor that in, and you realize NBA players were in a fit about what happened to Sterling Brown, and now he's suing, going through all the legal processes, and you look at the NFL where some players were completely outraged. They said on Twitter, Chris Long was one of them, Malcolm Brown, pretty much saying that this whole
Malcolm Jenkins,
my bad. It's pretty much just a smokescreen. It's to say, okay, we'll kind of let you think that you're making progress by saying you don't have to even be here for the flag, but this process is still going to happen with or without you.
I don't really get what you're saying.
Okay, so when you think about it, when the NFL started taking money from the Department of Defense for the national anthem, for them to play it at games
in 2009,
yeah, that's millions of dollars that comes in. They're not going to get rid of that. So when you look at this protest and they get all the way down to, well, you can just stay in the locker room. Well, all the people staying in the locker room, you're not going to see them. There's going to be no protest. You're going to completely forget about, oh, they're fighting about like systematic injustice, police brutality, racial disparity, and.
But you didn't really answer my question. I'm asking you, why are we talking about it? Why is it such a big deal?
Because literally, the NFL, the owners are all being influenced by President Trump and all the backlash from fans who say, oh, all these players are disrespecting the flag, when we've been over it millions of times. It's already been established that it's not disrespectful to take a knee during the national anthem. Like, there was a court case in West Virginia years ago, Supreme Court case, that proved you do not have to stand for the anthem if you don't want to. It's not forced on you to do so. People in the military will tell you, we fought for the right for you to stand, kneel, whatever symbolic thing you want to do during the flag while the national anthem is being played. You have that right.
Well,
it's not really disrespectful. It's just, let's be honest, there's a lot of NFL fans who have a lot of racist or conservative or just, I don't want to see them protesting type views towards these NFL players, and the NFL is like 80% black.
Well, I think my issue with it is, you touched on it, it's not disrespectful, and I think this whole policy kind of makes it about the flag again when we were finally trying to move away from that narrative. And the next point is, like you said, it's not disrespectful because I think they pointed out in the last show, you take a knee to a king, you take a knee to pray. Like, a knee is a sign of respect. Like, a knee
humility.
Is not humility, exactly. Not just that, but when you factor in that Kaepernick got advised to do that by people in the armed forces, it's like, it's not an anti-patriotic thing.
It's not like you're burning a flag.
My issue, and I think the reason why it matters to me and why I've been kind of making it a big deal, is because at our level, it's like, we understand, like you said, the money part of it. NFL is a sport. It's a business. It's costing them money from sponsorships. Like you said, Department of Defense. But it's not just them. It's other people that have that same demographic that are getting pressure. So my whole thing is, what if your job told you needed to stand for the national anthem? Like, what would you do, Woo?
If they told me I had to stand?
Yeah, and you wanted to protest for whatever your case was.
Or face consequences.
Man, I mean, I think as far as like a job telling you, and it's weird to think of the NFL players as being employees because, we think of them as just professional athletes.
Yeah.
But I think if my work told me, hey, we're gonna do the national anthem every day before opening, you have to stand, and I felt strongly about not standing and showing, hey, let's have this conversation about social injustice and all that stuff, and they forced that on me, I mean, I think I would have a case to, take, sue them or take legal action and say, you can't make me do this. Like, you have nothing that says, hey, you have to do this, especially if I've been on before that.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a contradiction of terms because you can't say we live in a democratic society where you have the right to free speech in the First Amendment and the freedom of expression when you're then saying, well, you have to stand up for, like, this flag ceremony. And if we're going to go back historically, that has never really been a good look. You can look at Europe for years when they made people salute flags and all types of other stuff.
Well, as of right now, like, the only place
well.
that has a policy like that is North Korea. So, I mean, not to say we're in that territory, but hey, we're in that territory. So, I think the other issue with it is that, like, someone pointed out on Twitter, hey, we finally have this thing. Okay, we had these conversations. We had these meetings. We cut the players a check. Like, we're finally moving along. Players are already like, okay, we're not going to protest anymore. People are slowly moving away from the Kaepernick story. And now
he still doesn't have a job.
And now the NFL is like, hey, let's throw some gasoline on these smoldering coals. Like
the fight's over. You're exiting the ring. Let me sucker punch him one more time.
Pretty much, it's like, okay,